With England's large teams looking keen to forget their traditions in order to earn a quick buck, it's sometimes pleasant to reflect on the things that actually count in football. So the FA Cup doesn't come with a £500 million TV agreement or a £700 million prize fund, but that doesn't mean we should overlook football's oldest and grandest competition. Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video on the channel. Today we are going to talk about the top 10 FA Cup final goals. Before we get started with the video, don't forget to smash the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get started. Number 10, 2014, Arsenal 3-2 Hull. The FA Cup final that Arsenal played in 2014 against Hull may not be the first one that comes to mind when you think of an FA Cup match, which is strange considering that it was just a few years ago, but it was an essential must-see. The underdogs jumped out to an early lead in the championship game, and it was thanks to goals scored by centre-back duo James Chester and Curtis Davies that Hull raced out to a 2-0 lead with only 8 minutes played. Arsenal had to wait until 20 minutes from time to draw level thanks to Laurent Koscielny's goal, and with just 10 minutes of extra time remaining, Aaron Ramsey arrived late into the box before slamming the ball past Alan McGregor to hand Arsene Wenger's side the trophy. Santi Cazorla immediately hit back to halve the deficit, but Arsenal had to wait until 20 minutes from time to draw level thanks to Laurent Koscielny's goal. Number 9. 2006, Liverpool 3-3 West Ham. At the Millennium Stadium in 2006, the final of the FA Cup featured a match between heavy favourites Liverpool and underdogs West Ham. In spite of the fact that the odds were stacked against Alan Pardew's team, they were able to take a 2-0 lead thanks to an own goal scored by Jamie Carragher and a goal scored by Dean Ashton just a few minutes later. The Reds rallied and appeared to have regained their footing as Djibril Cissé and Steven Gerrard scored goals. However, Paul Konchesky's cross was able to sneak past Pepe Reina and into the back of the net. After only a few minutes had passed, the Reds' captain, Fantastic Gerrard, took the field to fire an unstoppable 30-yard drive into the bottom corner. This left the West Ham team in disbelief, and the Reds went on to win the penalty shootout that followed extra time and extra time itself. Number 8, 1979, Arsenal 3-2 Manchester United. Since Arsenal and Manchester United are two of the most decorated clubs in England, the fact that they have competed against one another in the FA Cup on occasion over the course of the years surely does not come as a surprise to anyone. The match between these two teams in 1979 was one of the best of all of their encounters. Ryan Talbot and Frank Stapleton scored for the Gunners in the first half to give them a 2-0 lead. Gordon McQueen and Sammy McIlroy scored goals in the game's final 5 minutes, and it appeared as though those goals would be enough to cause an improbable amount of extra time to be played. However, United pulled a rabbit out of the hat late on, and it seemed as though they would win the game. However, there was yet another late twist that occurred as Terry Neal's team launched an attack directly from the kickoff, and Alan Sunderland's back post shot was sufficient to secure victory, with just 1 minute remaining on the clock. Number 7, 1988, Liverpool 0-1 Wimbledon. This championship match may not be very high on the enjoyment scale for the majority of people, but it is impossible to ignore the fact that it is taking place. When Wimbledon faced off against Liverpool in the 1988 FA Cup final, the so-called Crazy Gang was given virtually no chance of winning. Liverpool was considered to be the superior team. The Reds had just been named English champions for the second time in a row, while Bobby Gould's team had experienced a successful season despite being a significant step below Liverpool's ability level. Wimbledon took the lead thanks to a header by Lori Sanchez in the first half, and then Dave Beeson saved a penalty kick from John Aldridge in the second half to give Gould's team the most improbable of victories. Number 6, 1987, Coventry 3-2 Tottenham. Clive Allen's resounding header put Tottenham ahead early on in the 1987 FA Cup final against Coventry, and things appeared to be going according to plan until the Sky Blues equalized through Dave Bennett just a few minutes later. However, Tottenham were strong favourites entering the match, and they went on to win the trophy. At the very last second of the first half, Gary Mabbutt gave Tottenham the lead for the second time, but Coventry refused to go down without a fight and Keith Houchin tied the score. The game went into overtime with the score tied at 2-2, when Mabbutt gave Coventry a stunning victory by redirecting an apparently harmless cross from Lloyd McGrath into his own net. Number 5, 1973, Leeds 0-1 Sunderland. This one may not have had a lot of goals, but that does not mean that it is any less amazing than the victory that Wimbledon had over Liverpool. In fact, it is very similar to that victory. As Sunderland of the second division prepared to compete in the 1973 FA Cup final, they aimed to make history by being the first team from the second division to win the competition since West Brom in 1931. In their path lay the formidable Leeds, but Ian Porterfield's goal in the first half gave the northeast side an improbable lead. Even though Sunderland only won the FA Cup for the second time in their history, the two saves that Jimmy Montgomery made will never be forgotten. These saves ensured that Sunderland would be declared champions of the competition, which had only happened once before in their history. Number 4, 1981, Manchester City 2-3 Tottenham. Regarding pivotal points in the FA Cup's history, even though Spurs prevailed against Manchester City by a score of 3-2 in 1981, the game will be remembered for all time because Ricky Villa produced a moment of brilliance during the game that will live on in legend. The Argentine forward wriggled his way through the City defense and then slipped the ball past Joe Corrigan to give Tottenham the championship. It was really scored in the FA Cup final replay after the two teams had played out a 1-1 draw just 5 days earlier. The goal will live long in fans' memories. Number 3, 1990, Crystal Palace 3-3 Manchester United. The run that Crystal Palace made all the way to the FA Cup final in 1990 is often regarded as one of the most remarkable in the history of English football's domestic cup competition. Despite the fact that the Eagles had eliminated Liverpool in an equally dramatic semi-final, not many people gave Steve Coppell's team a chance against Manchester United. However, they began off strong and took the lead thanks to Gary O'Reilly. After Mark Hughes and Ian Wright scored, game went into extra time with the scores tied at 2-2. Brian Robson was the one who scored the goal that brought the game back to even. Wright scored what appeared to be the game-winning goal in extra time with a trademark poacher's finish at the back post. However, the celebrations for Palace were cut short when Hughes scored once more to level the score at 3-3 and force a rematch of the championship match. Lee Martin's goal was the difference in United's victory in the replay, which resulted in a 1-0 victory for United. However, Palace at least has the consolation prize of being involved in one of the best ever finals, although this will not make the loss any less painful. Number 2, 1989, Everton 2-3 Liverpool. The City rivalry match between Everton and Liverpool in 1989 is one that will be remembered for a variety of reasons. First of all, the two teams played each other at Wembley Stadium only 5 weeks after the horrific events that took place at Hillsborough, in which 96 Liverpool fans lost their lives. Prior to the start of the game, both sets of fans participated in a performance of the song "You'll Never Walk Alone." The Merseyside clubs went on to deliver an outstanding final, with Aldridge giving Liverpool an early lead and Stuart McCall scoring a stunning equalizer in the game's penultimate minute to send it into extra time. Ian Rush scored the goal to put Liverpool back in the lead before Kevin McCall scored another goal to bring Everton even. However, there was no relief in sight for the Toffees as Rush scored his second goal of the match to give Liverpool their 4th FA Cup victory. Number 1, 1953, Blackpool 4-3 Bolton. The match between Bolton and Blackpool that took place in front of about 100,000 spectators at Wembley Stadium was dubbed the Matthews Final because of the outstanding performance that was turned in by winger Stanley Matthews. The hat-trick scored by Stan Mortensen for Blackpool rendered the 3 goals scored by Nat Lofthouse, Willie Moore, and Eric Bell for the Wanderers null and void. With the score tied at 3-3, it appeared that extra time would be necessary to decide the winner of the match. However, Blackpool prevailed thanks to a goal scored by Bill Perry in the 92nd minute. The FA Cup trophy that they won is the only one they have ever won. Matthews was genuinely unplayable on the day in question, which is why the game became known as the Matthews Final. Some people even say that the contest was the greatest match that has ever been played. That's a wrap on the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, let me know by giving it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.